Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I do believe my son is possessed. I feel an exorcism is necessary.
That's just crazy talk.
A violent 12-year-old. He was screaming, so I grabbed him up and busted his butt.
And then dropped him in the gravel.
No, sir.
A desperate father.
He threatens to burn down the house.
The worst thing would be is having to kill my own son to protect my family.
He believes in demons.
John stated that he trapped a demon spirit in his house.
We put oil in my hand, prayed, and the spirit left the room.
But is the supernatural to blame?
You have no respect. I do. No, you don't.
He is terrified.
It looks like bullying because
it is. You get in his face and say, "Do you see how this works?" Let's do it.
have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Well, John claims that his 12-year-old son, Jack, is possessed by evil forces that are instructing the boy to kill his family. He says he's so concerned that he started preparing for an exorcism. He claims to have a team in place, ready to go, to rid his son of evil, because if he doesn't, he thinks the unthinkable could happen. The unthinkable is killing his own son in order to protect him from killing others. Now, there's only one person that stands in the way of his plan, his ex-wife, Jen. She says there is no way on earth she's going to let their son go through an exorcism, because she says he is not possessed, demonic, or controlled by the devil. Now, Jen claims the main issue is ex-husband John, who used harsh means, including spankings, to discipline their child. Take a look.
Stand up and go to that rock pile right now. Stand up. Stand up. You can't.
Well, Jen admits that Jack has threatened to burn the house down. He's threatened to kill himself. He's threatened to kill the family. She also says that he has attempted to jump out of a moving car. He vandalized his classroom and punched his grandmother, which she believes are signs of mental illness, not demonic forces.
My 12-year-old son, Jack, is completely out of control. Jack is extremely violent and mentally ill. He's hit me, kicked me, punched me, broken my windows in my house, threatened to stab me with a knife. Doctors have diagnosed Jack with several mental illnesses: ADHD, Asperger's, mood disorders, ODD. Over the years, Jack has been on over 50 medications and they never work. When he's mad at me, he calls me all kinds of names like, "You bitch, I hate you, I want you to die, I'm gonna kill you." He lies, he steals, he threatens to hurt himself. A couple weeks ago, he held a knife to his chest. John does not believe that there's anything mentally wrong with Jack at all. My ex, John, believes that Jack is possessed by demons.
Demons attached to objects. They could be a blanket from a loved one who's, no longer with us.
John told me he wanted to perform an exorcism on Jack this weekend. He said he had a whole group of guys working on it, and they'd already picked out the place, and he'd already had his house blessed. Now my 12-year-old believes he has demons inside of him. John doesn't understand what's going on in Jack's head. He needs to understand more, instead of just thinking that he can beat him into behaving. John is spanking Jack, and we've been told not to spank Jack from CPS and from the state hospital. John is controlling. I believe John's a hypocrite. He does a Bible study every Saturday morning, and then he acts this way. Since John has been with Renee, he wants to act like he's Father of the Year. Last week, Jack was checked back into the facility because he told his dad that demons were telling him to stab everybody in his dad's house. There's no way on earth that I'm going to let him perform an exorcism on my son, Jack. I don't believe that Jack has evil demons in him at all.
Let's go.
Okay, Jen, this looks like a very desperate situation.
It is. It's very desperate.
And when is this exorcism planned for?
It was supposed to be planned for last weekend
Okay, so it was put off
because of this, yes.
to come here.
Yes, sir.
Who was going to perform this exorcism?
A group of guys that go to various churches, and that's all he would tell me.
Okay, where was this going to take place?
He told Jack that it was going to be in a barn.
Okay, he told Jack.
Yeah, he didn't tell me.
Okay, so he told your son that he was going to undergo an exorcism.
Yes.
And do you know, you got this from your son?
Yes.
Tell me how your son described this to you as to what he thought he was getting ready to participate in.
He told me that his dad and a group of guys was going to beat the demons out of him.
Beat the demons out of him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know that that's what Dad said. That's just what
Right,
Jack
that's
said to
hearsay,
you.
Yeah.
Your son obviously is showing some out of control behavior. He's done some erratic things, right?
Yes.
He trashed his classroom.
Yes.
Does he show remorse for it after the fact?
Sometimes
What's his explanation for having done it?
he wanted to call me and they wouldn't let him call me.
It was a retaliation for not getting what he wanted?
Yes.
He's threatened to kill you?
On several occasions.
Okay, and when he says that, what does he say?
One occasion he broke a wooden dowel and he told me if I came any closer he was going to stab me to death. He's told me he wished that I was dead.
And he's threatened to jump out of the car on the freeway?
Yes. Thankfully my doors don't open when my car's in drive.
He has broken windows?
Yes. He wanted to go get a shard of glass and kill himself, and so I had to barricade his room where he couldn't get in there to it.
Okay. He didn't get one. He said he wanted to get one.
Yes, he didn't get one.
Okay. There was a point at which he held a knife to his chest. How so?
Under his shirt, to his chest.
Point
Pointed.
on his skin?
Yes.
Did he cut the skin?
No. John went after him to get the knife from him, and so he threw it down and ran. It's just when he's out of control, it's like a switch just turned on and off.
Yeah. And do you know how to trigger him? What will trigger him?
Anytime he's being told no or doesn't get his way.
Now, you say that John was absent for a long time
Yes.
and missed a lot of visits
Yes.
that were set up he didn't show up for, but now he's involved with a new wife, Renee?
Yep. And now he wants to play Father of the Year.
Okay. Is that a bad thing?
No, it's not.
You say play Father of the Year like it's a masquerade or something.
No, I mean, it's just that he was absent for so long and now he wants to step in and tell me how to parent them, what shots they're going to get, and how to medical, advice and all this. And but then for so long he didn't care.
So you think he's a Johnny-come-lately to this, no pun intended?
Yes.
And does he blame you for him being in the condition he's in?
He has in the past, yes.
Well, how does that square with being demon-possessed?
I don't know.
It's either bad parenting and demon possession are really different things.
Yes, they are.
Well, let's ask him. Jen's ex-husband, John, believes their son, Jack, is possessed by evil forces, and the only way to rid them is through an exorcism. We're going to find out why he feels that way, and just really hear everything he has to say about it right after the break.
I feel an exorcism is necessary. Getting his mother to go along with it. She doesn't believe it's demonic. She believes it's his mental illness. She needs to wake up and realize there's dark forces.
I don't feel that he could be saved by doctors that are just shoving medicine down his throat. I do fully support my husband, and that's what we should do as wives.
And later,
Do you see how this works? Stand up!
It looks like bullying because of the shadows, so with him getting down
It looks like bullying because it is. It looks like bullying because it is. I'm sorry.
All of Jack's problems started in pre-K. His teacher noticed that he was different from all the other kids.
He started acting out after my ex-wife and I had divorced.
When John was out of Jack's life for a number of years, it affected Jack.
I was building a business and I was traveling a lot. His mother started having lots more problems with him.
Jack's afraid that if he doesn't behave for John, then John will disappear again.
We have to get this child help. Even if you don't believe in exorcism, you don't believe in demonic possession, you have nothing to lose.
John believes there are dark forces at work that he actually saw when his son's eyes glazed over one time and he heard him talk in a raspy voice. Now, John is so concerned that he has already cleansed his house in preparation for an exorcism on his son. Now, John and his new wife, Renee, say it's the only way to win the spiritual warfare they feel like they're facing.
I believe my son is possessed. Is it a demon or is it the devil? I can't say, but it's scary. Jack is extremely violent. I feel that it is demons inside him controlling him. There is definitely something not right with Jack. I remember one time Jack got up without waking his mother or I. He was 2.5 years old. I caught him stacking glass shards around his mother's neck, point side up. When I realized what was going on, I asked him, "What are you doing?" He looked at me and said, "Making Mom pretty."
Jack is definitely out of control. My stepson is always yelling and screaming. He has also threatened to burn down my new home. I'm scared Jack will kill me.
We would like to do an exorcism on our son. I came in to put him in bed the other evening, turned off the light, walked down the hallway. My son Jack was yelling for me, and I came to about right here, and that came off of the walls. The evil presence was very intense at that time. This is spiritual warfare. I feel an exorcism is necessary, getting his mother to go along with it. She doesn't believe it's demonic. She believes it's his mental illness. She needs to wake up and realize there's dark forces.
I don't feel that he could be saved by doctors that are just shoving medicine down his throat. I do fully support my husband, and that's what we should do as wives.
The worst thing would be is during the defense of my children and or my wife having to hurt and or kill my own son to protect my family.
Okay, well, thank you all for being here. One thing I will pick out that you said that I certainly agree with is you're saying you're not going to fix this by a doctor shoving medicine down his throat. I've been through the medication list that your son has been given, and
Crazy.
holy God.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes.
it's outrageous. And you're right, you're not going to fix it by...
Yes, sir.
Tell me how you've come to the conclusion that it's demonic possession, because that's a pretty atypical decision.
At 2.5 years old, he began exhibiting traits. There was the stacking glass around his mother's neck, point side up. And if she would have turned, I mean, I caught him in the middle of it. I felt the energy shift, and I woke up and I caught him in the middle of it. And but there's been more things like that. There's been there's been several other incidents along the time.
Okay, well, let's go back to that first one. At 2.5, you say he broke this glass ball, and you say he was putting this around your wife's neck, pointed edges towards her neck, so if she turns, it could have injured her seriously.
Yes, sir.
Obviously not good behavior, dangerous behavior, but how is that behavior demonic?
I don't know everything about demonic forces. First off, I know enough to understand, I've, just like any man, I have a past. You know, I've come to know Jesus in the last 4 years. Try to do my best to walk hand in hand day in and day out. A lot of the things I'm reading that I've read, he sees the demon in his sleep when he closes his eyes. He showed his mother pictures of what he sees before. He drew a picture once upon a time. You know, and I heard her make the comment about me putting things in his head about the demonic possession. I wasn't the one who brought it up that night. When it happened, when I walked into that room and it happened, I walked out of that room, told my wife to come in with a video camera, walked out of that room, and went and called somebody I know to ask questions.
So before he told you that somebody was in his head telling him to stab the whole family, did you or did you not tell him that the devil will get him whether it's daylight or dark when you turned off that light?
No, I did not.
Because you were angry with him because he did something that you didn't...
No, I did not.
The demon tells him to kill the family.
He was so terrified. He says, Dad, I need to be with you. It's the only place we're safe. And I said, what do you mean? He said, he's telling me to get a knife and kill the family.
And later, you're bullying that boy.
What?
It looks like bullying because of the shadows.
When you get in his face and say, do you see how this works? That is straight up bullying that boy.
John had no right discussing this exorcism with our 12-year-old son. I believe he's putting it all in his head, and now my 12-year-old believes he has demons inside of him. I'm scared that if Jack believes that he has demons inside of him, he's going to continue to blame the demons on his behavior and not get any better. But our son has something medically wrong with him, not demons. John needs to stop talking about an exorcism in front of my children.
I made a list of the reasons that I could discern from what you said that you thought he was possessed. And one is that he placed glass near Jen's neck and right around her artery, that he has spoken a raspy voice. This is making mommy pretty.
Right.
Eyes glazed over, filmy look.
Looks like a lizard. Like when a lizard licks their eyes for moisture.
Yeah.
That's the look.
And reading Bible stirs up the spirit. What do you mean?
Well, I've gone in there and prayed over him at night whenever he's sleeping, and he's fast asleep. And he gets real uneasy. And then I stop and I leave.
Okay.
But,
And that the demon tells him to kill the family. You said you felt the presence of the demonic spirit in the bedroom.
yeah, it was dark. It was extremely...
You felt it.
Every hair on my body stood up. I don't know if anybody's ever felt that before or not, but every hair on your body stands up. You know it's dark and it's evil. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife, I said, let's go outside for a minute. And we stepped outside away from him to talk. And he came to the door, and he was so terrified there again. And he opened the door up and he says, Dad, I need to be with you. It's the only place we're safe. And I said, what do you mean? He said, he's telling me to get a knife and kill the family. And so at that time, I let him come out there. I made another phone call. We took him back to the hospital that night.
Let me ask the two of you, are you open to considering all possibilities?
Yes, sir, 100%.
As long as it is a positive forward movement, we're game for anything.
Because, I take this very seriously about your son, and, I don't know if y'all know, but I have an advisory board here for all of the stories that we do, all the cases that we do, that include the top minds in psychology, psychiatry, medicine, sociology, and theology.
Okay.
And we talk about these things, and we've talked about this. And I just want you to be open to all possibilities. And I always been from the scientific model, and believe me, I'm a Christian. I accepted Christ as my personal Savior when I was 12 years old, and I've maintained that relationship my whole life and proudly claim it today.
Yes, sir.
But that doesn't mean I don't also respect science. And there's a principle called Occam's razor that I embrace fully. And it's the principle of parsimony, which basically says the simplest explanation of a phenomenon is more often best. So it's kind of like you see lights in the sky, you say, well, those could be aliens from a foreign planet, or it could be a weather balloon. Now, what's most likely? Well, it's most likely it's a weather balloon. It's most likely it's an airliner going at a funny angle, and it looks, more often than not, the most simple, down-to-earth, explainable explanation is going to be right.
Right.
And so my attitude has always been, let's exhaust those explanations before we get to the more abstract explanation, which we may get to. But let's exhaust these first before we get there. Now, Jen's mother, Bella, says the reason her great-grandson is full of anger and fear has nothing to do with frightening demons, but everything to do with his frightening father. So there's multi-sides to this. We're going to add her to the conversation, then I'm going to start giving you some data and information about what I think could be playing roles here. We'll be right back.
Jack's father has been talking about having an exorcism for him. I don't think that's what he needs at all.
You can and you will.
An exorcism will not be performed on my grandson. To me, that's just creepy and ridiculous.
Closed captioning provided by
John's talk about exorcism and demons with Jack is just crazy talk to me. John stated that he trapped a demon spirit in his house.
We opened the window first, put oil in my hand, and we stood and we prayed over the room, and the spirit left the room.
John stated that he may have been the one that passed on the demon to Jack because his mother got a curse put on her. That's crazy to me.
My grandson thinks that he's evil. My son-in-law has put that in his head.
He believes that we should also clear my house of demons and bad spirits. John needs to realize that there's something medically wrong with our son and get on board.
Well, ex-spouses Jen and John claim their 12-year-old son Jack is out of control. That they agree on. They say that he has threatened to kill them, kill himself, burn their house down. Jen's mother, Joyce, and her grandmother, Bella, both say they noticed Jack's behavior change after Jen and John's divorce. Not unusual. They say Jack is now full of anger and fear, but claim it isn't the demons he fears the most, it's his father.
I am very concerned about my grandson. Jack's been violent with me twice, punched me in the face.
You hit your grandmother, son.
John yells at him. He expects Jack to act like an adult.
Hitting my head on it.
And he can't do it. I think he gets violent with Jack. And the child's scared.
Stand up. You can and you will.
John gave Jack a black eye.
He's too aggressive.
A grown man should not hit a child
Stand up.
in the face.
When John gets angry with Jack or Jen, that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. They got demons in them.
Jack's father has been talking about having an exorcism for him. I don't think that's what he needs at all.
This whole thing is odd to me because John hasn't even been going to church that long.
John needs to stop talking about exorcism around Jack. He's only 12. Putting these things into Jack's head is a terrible thing to do. John is the one that needs counseling. He thinks he knows every answer, and it's always someone else's fault.
An exorcism will not be performed on my grandson. To me, that's just creepy and ridiculous.
Okay, joining us down in the audience are Joyce and Bella. So Joyce, Bella, thank you guys for being here. I want you to chime in as we go along here and talk about this. You do think an exorcism is the answer here?
Not necessarily, no. I think that is one avenue we need to look at. It's been happening since he was 2.5 years old.
How much do you know about alternative explanations? Have you done a deep dive on the autism spectrum to find out what...
I have done some research on it. I wouldn't say, yes, sir.
Oppositional defiant disorder.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you know
ODD.
Do you know the genesis of these? I'm saying these would certainly be on my short list of considerations before I would consider that he was demonically possessed. And then I would look and say, okay, let's see what kind of environmental situation he's in. I want to look at one thing here. This is an interaction that you've had with him, and this shadow cast here is you. This shadow is you with a video camera.
Yeah.
So let's take a look.
You're going to do what I tell you. Because you are a 12-year-old.
At this point, you look in shadow here about 20 feet tall, and he looks about a foot tall. That's how this looks to him. And I can't begin to tell you how counterproductive this is to a child that is experiencing the inability to regulate his emotions. And what I'm saying to you is this is intimidating and violent behavior.
Number one, you have no respect. I do. No, you don't. Because if you did, I wouldn't.
Okay. Now, at that point, you're bullying that boy. Okay? That is straight up bullying that boy. Okay? And
Do you see how this works? Stand up and go to that rock pile right now. Stand up. Stand up.
It looks like bullying because of the shadows, so with him getting
it
down.
looks like bullying because it is. You take the shadows out of it, it looks like bullying because it is. I'm sorry.
That's fine. But as I was saying, he got down on his level and was talking to him as he is crouched
He wasn't
down.
talking, he's yelling at him.
When you get in his face, at his level or any level, and say, do you see how this works? You've stopped parenting and you've started managing by intimidation, and you're doing it with a child that has an inability to regulate his emotions, and at that point, he is terrified.
He was screaming, he was cussing, so I just grabbed him up, took him to the truck, and busted his butt.
And what you're doing right there is absolute, unqualified child abuse.
Closed captioning provided by
One of the reasons that Jack likes to be around his mom is she gives him a lot of stuff, and he gets away with a lot of stuff.
In the past, John has blamed Jack's behavior on me.
Take your lazy ass up. Go over there and do what you're supposed to.
A big part of Jack's behavior is his mother's laziness.
John's wife, Renee, just seems to go along with whatever John wants to do.
She could do better in a lot of areas and be a better role model.
John likes to have things his way. He likes to be in complete control of every situation. I have to remind him frequently that I am not married to you anymore, and you're not running my life.
Let's take a look at this video.
He was screaming, he was cussing, and so I just walked over there, grabbed him up, took him to the truck, and busted his butt.
And then dropped him in the gravel.
No, sir, I caught
It
him.
wasn't your plan, but
No, sir, I caught him. That's why I had his shirt. I did not drop him in the gravel. You need to look a lot closer.
what you're doing right there is absolute, unqualified child abuse. So I'm telling you, they would. I'm telling you, that would be judged to be child abuse. I'm trained as a forensic psychologist. I'm telling you, that would be considered child abuse. And that's not your intention.
No, not at all.
I know it's not your intention, but that's not okay. That is not okay. And let me tell you how I know that's not demon possession. Because if that boy was demon possessed, he would whoop your ass. Really. Because if you do a deep dive, demons are not timid. They don't whine and cry and cower.
I understand that.
That doesn't look like demon possession to me.
So what was in his room the other night?
Don't know. But taking a bullying, management by intimidation approach to a young man who cannot regulate his emotion. He has a dysregulated emotion disorder. He can't do that. And so again, it's like as him get taller, he's like, I'd love to do something to smoke this guy off me, but I don't know what to do. I can't do it. He can't regulate that because of some neurological deficits. This isn't just a spoiled brat kid. No. There are neurological deficits here that have to be addressed and can be. That's the good news.
That's why we're here.
Let's take a break. Renee claims Jen's parenting is a big part of the problem because rather than dealing with the issue, she prefers to take the easy way out. More on that when we come back. I've constructed a timeline to kind of see how this has progressed, and I've gone back, because you said at like 2.5, some of these things started showing up. So I've gone back to age 2 here, and this is when you guys break up.
I would say probably 4 to 5 is whenever I was more not around.
This is when you say this is when you were more absent, and your grandfather dies.
Yep.
Okay. He starts preschool, he gets a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, and he starts medication and therapy. Yeah. This is when at school he starts cursing, kicking, hitting, biting his sister, and running away. This is when he starts seeing some really difficult behavior. And I'm saying the likely result here is confusion and self-blame. Confusion happens when people that supposedly love you start hitting you. Right. And they start to blame themselves. This isn't opinion, this is reality. Kids have a way of figuring out how things are their fault. Okay, now we get to 5 or 6, and now you're in and out of his life. Okay, so this is when he starts trashing the house, he's acting out, he's defiant. After your visit, he's running away, he's kicking, he's hitting, he's biting. Problem is, he's now getting bigger and stronger.
Yes, sir.
Again, he's blaming himself. Okay, DCF is involved because John spanks Jack. The police are called. He draws a picture of the devil. He steals a teacher's purse, knife, steals jewelry, money, smashes a bedroom window twice, threatens suicide with these glass shards. You stop spanking, and you say, oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to consequate other ways. Let's try something else. Likely result here is depression, rage, self-blame, and he's starting to feel marginalized. And I'm saying marginalized because now it's not just you guys. He's alienated a teacher. He's stolen her purse, and so he's not trusted at school now. He's just now 9 or 10. You two get together, John and Renee. John gets back involved in Jack's life. You all have this custody arrangement, and he winds up with a black eye. He gets a diagnosis of bipolar 1, conduct disorder, severe, ADHD, borderline, intellectual functioning, placed in a psychiatric facility, and he's on 12 different meds. Okay, he rides his bike out onto the highway into traffic hoping he gets hit by a car. Yeah. Likely result, again, depression, but now we're getting the beginning of learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is when you begin to perceive you don't have any control over anything. You can't change what's happening to you. So now we're at age 11 or 12. You say he's possessed. He's placed in a psychiatric facility where he is today.
Yeah.
Right now, today. Okay? He threatens to burn down the house and the school, threatens suicide, grabs a knife, holds it to his chest, vandalizes the classroom because he doesn't get what he wants, punches his grandmother in the face, and sees demons. Jen says it's hard to give consistent consequences. John spanking him. Likely result, marginalized, rage, self-blame, and a complete misfit. This is headed nowhere good. So is there help? Is there hope? We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Have you talked to him about being possessed?
After he overheard the conversation when I went in my kitchen, he asked, it's nothing to hide. I'm not going to hide it. I think there's a major problem here. I'm not arguing the fact there may be something additional. The scientific side and the mentally is concerned. I'm not arguing that at all. I don't understand it and I don't have the answers for it.
But I don't believe that's a conversation you should be having with children, especially not one that has mental illness.
Fair enough.
I think the chance of this young man being demon-possessed is something less than zero. The chance of being explained by mental illness is about 100%. And frankly, in terms of what I've encountered throughout my career, I would say it's moderate. That's good news, by the way.
No, I get that.
You're the first person that's told us it's moderate. Most of the people have told us it's the worst
tells
they've
us the
seen.
worst case I've ever seen.
Well, you're in a small town. I do. And the first thing I would do, back when I had a real job and was in practice, what I would have done day one, minute one, was get a brain scan of this young man and find out what parts of his brain,
Been asking for.
what parts of his brain are underactive and what parts of his brain are overspeeding. Because that can be balanced out. He's in a state of neurological heterostasis and needs to be in neurological homeostasis, which is balanced. You've been trying to get him to a qualified neurologist who can do these things. Well, that's going to happen immediately.
Thank you.
We'll get that done within 48 hours. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll do that right now. And what's more, that's our gift to you. We'll get you there, and we'll do this in Texas, by the way.
Thank you.
And because people know, I think the best diagnostic and treatment center for this kind of thing is the P&P Center in Dallas. And it's different when I call. But we'll get that set up. We'll get that taken care of, and let's get this on the right path. And let's try to unring some of the bells that have been rung, and get this headed in the right way. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Are you glad you came here?
Very.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll get this broken. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right, Renee. Thank you. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to P&P Center. You can find me at drphil.com, Facebook, Twitter, and even on Instagram. So we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. We are coming up on the holidays, so we've been trying to treat our audiences really, really nice. So, Robin, treat these people really, really nice.
I love the holidays, and they are just around the corner. And one of my favorite things are holiday parties and spending time with family. Have you ever noticed that there's always seems to be that one person, though, that looks at you and says, you're kind of looking a little tired.
Well, how rude.
I know. This season, you're going to be looking phenomenal because I'm sending everyone home with the Eyes Have It. It's a power peptide eye cream. Helps to diminish that appearance of dark circles and the dull, crepey skin. At the same time, it promotes healthy collagen. Also, you're going home with something else to pair with it. I have a Hydra Quench moisturizing night cream because while you sleep, it hydrates that skin that makes you look so much more youthful.
You put this on me the other night, right?
While he's sleeping, I put it everywhere. It improves the look of your dull, tired skin and increases firmness and elasticity, which makes you look so young.
It happens all while you sleep.
Yes.
All right. So everybody's going home with both of those?
Both of them.
All right, everybody's going home with both of those. All right. If you at home want to get those, go to robinmcgrawrevelation.com. We'll see you next time.